You know, I'll always teach you on the higher planes of existence about the relationships that exist there. But always remember before we go into this lesson that you must handle business and conduct yourself as a responsible citizen within the universe. Taking all of this information and failing to apply it to your own personal circumstantial improvement at a degree which is appreciable and respectable, commendable, meaning taking all of this information and still remaining just as unproductive as you've ever been and at a lower degree of personal refinement than you've ever been or as you've ever been only would increase the degree of poor intelligence on your behalf. Why your world is yours? So let's get into the meat of this discussion. There is no monopoly on the truth. As far as religions, for lack of a better term, cultural manifestations of existential contextualizations, that's what we really should call them, and I'll be able to use more syllables and use polysyllabic terminology because I'm not lazy enough and I truly value concision, precision, and exact communication. Just as in when we look at the word God, for example, many people may have many different beliefs about what God may or may not be. But one thing's for sure, two things for certain, three things indisputable, is that we have all been created by the same thing. So that which created all creation hasn't and can't be two things which created one thing, right? So, why your world is yours? That which is responsible for all and has created all. Now, we can depersonify that. We don't have to anthropomorphically conceptualize that by projecting human qualities onto said divine force. That's the flaw most people don't recognize that they don't recognize. But beyond that, what we must understand is that through all of these cultural manifestations of existential contextualization, formerly known as or colloquially known as religion, one must recognize one simple thing. There is no monopoly on the truth. And when we say no monopoly on the truth, what one must recognize is that as individuals vie for their belief system and their religion or their cultural manifestation of intellectual, existential contextualization, as individuals vie for their personal, cultural, intellectual contextualization of existence, one must recognize that truth is truth. There is no particular way of saying or going about understanding truth, because once you recognize one thing, I don't speak English, I comprehend communication. I don't speak Spanish, I don't speak Arabic. These are just means and tools for concepts which exist without words, and the words are only means of communicating from psyche to psyche the concept that is being conceived. See, your world is yours. The mind is a conceiver. Most people are only perceivers, and they live on the sensation level of existence. Once you become a true human and you're using your mind and you're aware of your psyche, you're aware of a world which exists beyond the sensory perceptions. You truly become a navigator of that which is unseen. And in the unseen, that doesn't mean there aren't things conceived. There's a difference between conceiving and perceiving. I have no time to go into that tangent for now. We must say there is no monopoly on the truth. So as individuals go about their way and say, my religion and my God and my religion and my God, you have to understand that these conceptualization and contextualizations of existence, which have become formalized traditional formalities of religions, as they say, or ways of understanding life, in a world full of individuals who take these things extremely literal, you must become an individual who understands the figurative. Know the difference and learn how to discern through your own critical thinking and reasoning apparatus how to look into the deeper significance and meanings behind, as I even mentioned in this video, words as simple tokens of concepts which exist independent of the locutions that they are attached to. Whatever you are, your world is yours. Consider the vibrations raised. The main message of this message is to understand that there is no monopolization of the truth in a world full of individuals who are vying for cultural supremacy and monopolizing the truth. We could all never have the ability to speak again, and the truth would be the truth irrespective of the name. So even if you call God, Dios, Allah, the concept in that which exists without the individual human brain giving it a name still exists without the human brain fighting for the name being the more superior thing to maintain than the concept itself. Consider the vibrations raised. Many people are not on this level. Many people will never be on this level. Many people seek this level, seldom achieve this level, because you cannot fake this. You must truly become this. I exist for people who need to comprehend life at a higher degree, not simply for consumer's sake, but simply to experience that which they've been blessed with at a deeper degree. Depth is the dimension of the third. Without depth, there is nothing but height and width, and that exists as a two-dimensional aspect. Even if we look into math and we have graphs, we have the x and the y axis. This is the two-dimensional way of thinking, and as I mentioned earlier in the ideation of people living on the perception level of consciousness and not the conception level of consciousness, concepts are the z-axis, and the z-axis begins by introducing the element of depth. Without depth, you would never understand true reality. Consider the vibrations raised. As people are moving through this life, fighting for cultural supremacy and ignorant to their ignorance, or not recognizing their lack of recognition of the higher concepts which exist, with or without tokenizing through human sound locutions, understanding that words are simply tokens and words are simply simple symbols for abstract concepts. Words are just titles for complex emotions. Then you'll recognize that before the word was the thought. And without the word or the particular human choice of formalized, arbitrary sound creation, right? Because imagine you didn't speak English and you only spoke English. Let me say this. Imagine you didn't speak English and you only spoke Spanish and you heard the language of English. Would it make any intelligible sense to you, or would they just be arbitrary sounds? If you only spoke Chinese and never spoke English, although you understand English, take time to step aside from yourself and run the thought experience in concept. What would English sound like to an individual who never understood or comprehended English? You wouldn't be able to know, because all you've known is English. Step aside. Even pay attention to the languages you don't know. That's the proof of the argument of the arbitrary nature of the sound selection. And if you don't comprehend a particular sound, a particular quote-unquote chosen word to represent a particular concept, that doesn't denounce the concept. Consider the vibrations raised. Evolution only solution, self-mastery only success. I'll tell you this. There's a world of individuals fighting for cultural supremacy and thinking that the word or the human cultural apparatus that they've ascribed to commemorate the concept is more valuable than the concept itself. Meaning they mistake the symbol for the meaning. They've put the symbol over the value. They mistake the symbol for the significance within what it symbolizes. Consider the vibrations raised, and to worship symbols and to praise symbols over truly accepting and understanding abstract yet not arbitrary concepts is comparable and almost equivalent to idolatry. Don't worship the word, pay attention to the concept. Consider the vibrations raised. Forms don't matter. That which create forms matter. In a world full of individuals who are unaware of their desire to monopolize the truth, if we all stop speaking whatever we were speaking. And if we all look at the story of the Tower of Babel, which toppled over because of a confusion of tongues, right, we recognize that there is a language that we all speak when we're not speaking. And if you truly listen in silence, you will recognize that it is a language which precedes all human creation. And that's where the truth exists, always will exist, and can never be changed. Consider the vibrations raised. Evolution only solution, self-mastery only success. When you walk away from this video, what you need to do is understand at a deeper level and learn to appreciate and evaluate at a different level, and then never forget to apply yourself and improve yourself to a greater level. I love and appreciate y'all, always and forever.